Reflect more and further educate myself on this topic. Who is this? It's Michaela. She got the boss call from hell. I mean, yeah, what the fuck are you thinking? Like, that right there is literally another showcase of like transphobia being like a fucking brain disease. The most fake apology. She's been transphobic for so long now and has even said her trans friends agree with her transphobia. She only apologized because she jeopardized Tyler's job. It doesn't matter what she apologized for or not. Okay? It doesn't matter. Okay? Here's why it doesn't matter. Because ultimately, if you're an influencer and you're like a hateful person behind fucking closed doors, as long as that shit doesn't carry out, I care mostly about stopping the flow of hateful misinformation online. That's my number one. That is my number one goal. Okay? So this doesn't mean that she is like magically decided to be a good person and become a trans ally. But it's the first right step to take in this circumstance is a good apology. Just take it. You know what I mean? Doesn't matter. It entirely depends on how she portrays herself going forward, what she chooses to do going forward, obviously, you know. Hold on. Sorry, I got it. I may be wrong, but I believe that the Algerian boxer was banned in 2023 because she beat a Russian boxer in the semifinals. She will do it again next year. She's had yearly episodes 2020. I've actually never seen her apologize for it, though. So, you know. Anyway, this is what Tyler had to say.
Occur, which apologize, guys, because there were some things said on Twitter about me that were just wild. Fuck. About whatever the fuck people go by. Just so we're... If I haven't made it clear in the past, bro, I do not care. Guy, girl, other, he, him, her, both. Race, color, yellow, green, black, I do not care, bro. If they are happy, let them fucking be. I don't care.
I 100% believe him when he says this. Like, the only thing Tyler cares for is if you feed top lane or is a bad support. Yeah, it's just like, he doesn't give a fuck about any of that shit. I believe him.
Especially if it doesn't affect me. Let me make that clear. I don't give a shit. They're happy, whatever, man, whatever. And I know it goes a little bit deeper than that because it's like politic-wise, they're like, well, no, because like they're doing this, they're doing that. The kid, bro, I am uneducated. I am ignorant to comment on. I identify as a guy, girl, tree, they, he, or why. Because why do you care, bro? Let other people do whatever they want. It doesn't fucking affect you. Shut up.
This is literally from, I think this is like, not even from 2022. I think this is like way older than that, actually. I think this might have been uploaded in 2022, but like, yeah, I mean, he's right. He's right. He's right. Why the fuck do you care? What's wrong with you? Like, nah, he was in Korea here. Oh, it was in, it's 2022. It's just like, I think you are insane if this is something that you worry yourself with all the time. I'm sorry. Anything that you worry yourself with to this degree, even if it's a good thing, even if it's a good issue, even if you have the right opinions on a matter like this, if you become this invested in anything, you're going to come across as fucking off-putting to so many goddamn people. Like, it's the cartoonish depiction that my haters have of me, or that people think of me, for example, when they think like I'm constantly preaching socialism, like in every fucking step that I take. Like, I can't be just like a normal person that enjoys things. You know what I mean? I can't just like watch the Olympics and feel fucking proud that LeBron James is the greatest athlete of all time. And he's just fucking dunking on people at the age of 40 after 21 years of dominating a goddamn league. Like, I can't just feel happy or enjoy shit, see feats of athleticism without like making it political. You know what I mean? I can. And most people don't think about these things at all because they can be fucking normal. Okay. And that's what I mean. That's what I'm talking about. Like, if I were to constantly fucking look at like the Olympics and be like, well, actually, this is, I don't know, like America. I can't believe you're like riding for America. America's an imperialist nation. It's like dominating the world and has 800 military bases. And you talk about that in every fucking conversation. People will look at you and go, yeah, you're weird, man. Shut the fuck up. Okay. And that's the left version of this. You know what I mean? And it's just like transphobic people think more about trans people than trans people do because their brain is fucking warped, dude. It is literally a mental illness. You've lost your goddamn mind, dude. You literally lost your fucking mind. You're like constantly thinking about trans people. What's wrong with you? Trans people are not thinking about trans people this much. Fucking let people breathe, man. Jesus Christ. Yeah, it's like, let me show you a picture of every dead kid in Gaza. Can you imagine if I did that shit every day? And I've literally covered the ongoing active genocide in Gaza for fucking 10 months, every single fucking day, nonstop. But in the real world, I'm not fucking running around with photos of kids whose brains have been blown up and like actively showing it to people and be like, look at this. And that is the correct position to have. Like, obviously, being anti-genocide is the correct position to have. But I would be a fucking psycho if I did that. So my point is, like, even if you are on the right side of history, even if your cause is just, okay? And so, like, even if you're doing something correct, technically, morally correct, if you take it to that point, you're just going to be fucking hurting your own cause. And that's what a lot of transphobes do. They think like this is the most significant thing. They can't stop thinking about it. You know? Oh.
Do not know anything. Guys, leave me the fuck out of it. I don't know, bro. I said my take, man. I do not care. Reading some of these comments has been wild. Because it's like, dude, like, people are like, yeah, I could just tell he was like that. Yeah, he's also a racist. I was like, wait, what? Like, I'm reading some wild shit, man.
Okay, to be fair, he's a League of Legends player. Like, that's a given. Okay? Like, that's a given. Like, people are gonna assume that about you, big dog. You play League of Legends, okay? Like, that's not that off base. It comes with the territory. You know what I mean? Like,
like, what is happening, by the way? Like, yeah, bro, if you're surprised by this, like, what are you saying? What? They're like, is there ever...
Are there a good number of former chatters you've met IRL who realized the purpose of this entire tirade and actually started doing good outside of the internet? I don't know why so many people don't get that being relatable to the average working person is the only way to achieve the goal of uniting workers of the world. How can we unite people we've isolated from on a fundamental level by serving them the top of the hour ad break, which is like the principal uniting thing that happens on this broadcast, where those who are unsubscribed at the top of the hour will be united with those who are subscribed because they don't want to see the ads. And then they will end up purchasing a subscription for $6 or for free with a Twitch Prime, using their Twitch Prime here on the broadcast by connecting their Amazon Prime account to their Twitch account. They can also get gifted a sub too. That's another way to unite people. Here's a 3-minute ad break now.
I don't give a shit, man. God damn. So apologies for all that drama. I know we don't ever deal with that here, but I was thrown into this against my will. So again, I apologize that we had to deal with that. This is like a safe space. We never talk about any politics, by the way. You know what's crazy? Just yesterday, we were literally talking about getting canceled and like things like that. And I was like, yeah.
For the record, I don't think he's like lying to preserve the bag here for people who like think that there is like some kind of nefarious purpose or that there is like or he's just like you know, hiding the truth and he's like secretly transphobic. I just don't think that is like I think he's right. He's right on this. Like, this is his opinion.
It couldn't ever happen, by the way. Will never happen. I don't talk about anything. And sure enough, comedy. It is what it is. I said my part. I don't care, bro. I didn't care. Anyway, let's move forward amicably, right? I'm tired today. I've had a long morning. I've had a long day. Let's move forward amicably. Tomorrow,
my goat.
We're going to be LCS co-streaming.
My goat. Tyler's great. I love him. It's hard not to. I mean, straight up. He's awesome. Bro, he should get his girl under control then. Bro, that's so funny. Having a fucking 20-month subscriber, having a 20-month subscriber talk like a goddamn right-winger. Yo, put your girl on a leash, dog. Like, what do you mean, bro? What kind of fucking misogynistic bullshit is this? Okay? Calm the fuck down, dickhead. Jesus Christ. These are fucking two individual adults we're talking about. Yeah, one of them's got fucking brain rot, which, by the way, I didn't even realize this banged so goddamn hard. Transphobia is a legitimate brain disease that eventually causes people to suspect everyone of being trans. We're watching that happen in real time on a website run by a transphobic deadbeat dad freak. This harms trans women and cis women. Y'all are weird as fuck. I didn't even realize this shit banged until somebody sent me this in the chat. Hasan has some words for transphobes and homophobes. Anyway. Sort by controversial. Why the fuck would I do that, man? I'm trying to preserve my brain. Not like lean into the brain rot. Dude, you were like the only one on Twitter against the brain rot wave. No, there's definitely plenty of content creators who are also against it. Caroline had a good take as well. This is just something that I've talked about so much. Like, so much. Okay? This is something that I have been an advocate for years and years and years. I myself had transphobic opinions. You guys know this. I'm very open about it. Like 10 plus years ago. And I use that as a way to you know, actively try and de-radicalize people. God damn, Caroline, so we got 300,000 likes. Michael Phelps is literally referred to as a freak of nature because of his disproportionate wingspan, double jointed ankles, lung capacity twice of an average human, body that produces half the lactic acid of a typical athlete, and he is rightly celebrated for being the greatest male swimmer in history. Meanwhile, female athletes with genetic differences are legally discriminated against and harassed to no end. This is not about protecting women in sports. This is about protecting a very specific idea of what a woman is. Whoo! That's a great take. Popped off on that. Women's sports gets massive attention only when transvestigators go on a rampage screaming about trans female athletes and cis female athletes who they claim are men. None of them care about real issues like unequal pay, inadequate training facilities, less visibility in the media, fewer athletic opportunities, rampant abuse and discrimination, etc. Yeah. And then immediately, look, on mass media, real issues. It's possible all issues should be looked at, but idiots like you, on the one hand, believe WNBA who loses millions a year should be paid the way NBA who make billions should be paid. It's like, dude, you just did it. You just did that. You literally replied with exactly what she was referencing. Asman Dumb said this was a valid comparison because he is not a valid comparison because he is brain rot. Wait, what? What? Not a valid comparison in what respect? I thought your Wemby comparison was really solid. I mean, I've talked about Michael Phelps quite a bit. I've talked about Wemby quite a bit. I've talked about, in terms of like hormone replacement, I've talked about one lesser known talking point that I am responsible for. If you ever hear this in trans discourse, that came from here. Messi. You know? Like, if you ever hear somebody fucking in the wild bring up Messi, who also underwent like hormone therapy, who took HGH to overcome his like genetic, got clocked so bad she swore it was, oh Jesus.
Everything.
Law, you did not create that point. Yes, I did years ago. I had never heard it anywhere else. I've never heard anybody fucking use the Messi comparison.
What about Michael Phelps then? Michael Phelps was not inside of a league that was defined by its restrictions.
What? What does that even mean? Not a valid comparison. There's a reason boxing is a weight class and swimming and football, etc. do not. Wait, do you think that Iman Khalif actually is not in the same weight class as the person that she was competing against? The fuck are you talking about? They're in the same weight class, dumbass. What the fuck? They're the same weight class. It's not like they put her in a fucking different weight class. These comparisons are not combat sports, not valid, my brother. Not what I said. Yeah, it is. It is. Okay. Also, the NBA is a great comparison too. The fuck do you mean? You're still yamming on motherfuckers when you're in the NBA. LeBron James is too tall and too athletic. He should not play, which is ironic because that is what they used to say about black people competing in sports. That was literally what they used to say back in the day. Advocates for segregated leagues would be like, well, black people are too strong and too aggressive, and they have different genes. Straight up. It's the same shit. It's so silly to be like, it's not a valid comparison because this is a weight class issue. It's like they're in the same weight class. What are you talking about? She's also a cis woman. That's also ridiculous. Yes, but there's a difference in combat sports. You're being obtuse. Brother, we're talking about a cisgender woman, born a woman, has a pussy, has a fucking uterus, beating the dog shit out of another woman. You're mad because one woman is punching harder than another woman. Shut the fuck up. I hate this bitch. I'm sorry. I don't like it. I don't like it. This woman, I don't like it. She doesn't look fuckable enough for me. Maybe she could beat my ass too. I'm saying there's you comparing combat sports to swimming. Brother, the point is correct. All matter of athletic competition, whether you are beating the dog shit out of another person or whether you going to have some genetic, some natural inequalities built into the fucking sport. That's what makes sports great. Okay? Like, it's such a funny fucking thing. It's such a funny thing to be like, I'm a combat sports enjoyer and I'm really scared that the combat sports that and you're talking about it when you're talking about like two cisgender women fighting each other. Okay? Genetic differences exist in every sport, from combat sports to gymnastics, all the way to fucking swimming and basketball. Every sport has genetic differences. That's why a 51-year-old like, gear whatsoever and just fucking boom, get a fucking silver medal. Okay, that dude is naturally gifted at shooting. He's a crack shot. What are you gonna do? This is just how it is. That's why seeing 5'8" guys in the NBA is so great. They overcame genetic differences. Exactly. Even be good. It would be bad to do that. It would be boring to do that. This is like participation trophy shit. It's participation trophy shit flipped on its fucking head. But it's like being done from the right-wing side. So I guess it's not participation trophy advocacy. But it is. It is. That is exactly what this is. It's lame as fuck. And it pisses me off that people don't realize it. Oh, it scares me. I'm so scared.
Do you understand what the difference there is? So this is obviously a bad argument. So basically, Michael Phelps was in a league and it said anybody can join this league. It doesn't matter what you are, what you ever.
Yeah, famously, nobody ever, by the way, nobody ever cries about women's, trans women swimming with cis women. I don't even know what he just said here. What he just said is completely irrelevant. It sidesteps the actual point of contention, which is that Michael Phelps has genetic advantages, okay? He has genetic advantages, just like Iman has genetic advantages, okay? Natural advantages. That's it. I've seen people investigating Katie Ledecky. Yes, people are very frustrating, especially because like they just can't fucking sit around and enjoy the goddamn Olympics, and it pisses me off. Okay, I can't believe I'm the one saying this. These are the same people that used to chirp about SJWs all the time, making everything political. Like literally, that's what they used to cry about in like the late 2010s, right? Oh, SJWs make everything political. Just you can't fucking enjoy shit. And they literally do this. They do this nonstop. Right wingers are. They just literally are like, they're looking at the Olympics and they're like, what can I be mad about today? It's like, dude, live your fucking life, big dog. You got bills to pay. You got taxes to pay. The fucking potholes are not fixed in your goddamn neighborhood. And you're sitting around eating fucking hot Cheetos on your couch, getting angry that a woman does not look fuckable enough for you, so they must be a man. The fuck's wrong with you? I didn't. You know why? Because I don't fucking care, okay? I don't. Oh, but they were being disrespectful to Christianity. It's like, dude, what are you talking about, dude? They're French. They're Christians themselves. And they're weird. Why do you care about some fucking artistic depiction? What's wrong with you? How does this impact your life in any way? You just sat there, someone told you to get mad at this shit, and now you're fucking mad at it. You goddamn baboon. Who cares? It is it is artistic depiction happening at the Olympics opening ceremony. Who fucking cares? What are you doing? I'm not having this conversation. Okay? I don't want to have this conversation. I will not be having this conversation. I don't care. Okay? It's like getting mad at fucking Eurovision. Okay? It's like complaining about Disney movies being gay. Have you watched a Disney movie? What's wrong with your fucking brain? Being afraid of the biblical devil in 2024? Yeah, it's like, dude, you have a child brain, okay? If you look at the biblical devil and you get scared, of like the depictions of like the Antichrist or whatever, you are a child. Like, not even a child is afraid of that shit. We have depictions of it in like cartoons and stuff. Like it's worse than having a child's brain. What the fuck?
Give us a little update. What's the latest?
Anyway, here's Karini, Angela Karini, who wants to apologize to Imam Khalif amid boxing gender row.
On that situation today?
Right, I'll do this in sort of chronological order. This morning, clarification and clear clarification on why Imam Khalif and Taiwan's Lin Yuting are allowed to box here, why they are eligible to be boxing here at the Olympic Games. Yesterday there was an awful lot of noise around this story, but this is the clear clarification. They're eligible to box at these games for very clear reasons. Firstly, on their passport, it says they are female, but also even further with that.
I don't believe it, brother. I need to see their pussies now. I need to see their pussies now. I'm a normal man. I demand to see pussies. And even if I see a pussy, it's not enough. I need to see ovaries, brother. I need to see chromosomes, brother. I need to do a penis inspection check. Do you understand how fucking weird you are for behaving like this? Do you get that? Show me your pussy now! Like, that's a wild thing to fucking say, dude. Republicans won't stop until they see everybody's fucking genitals, dude. They're psychotic.
Now, at birth, they were registered as female. They have grown and lived as females. They have boxed as females. And it's been made clear by the IAC, they do not see this as a transgender issue. It is not. It is not a man fighting a woman. There are an awful lot of politics on many, many sides. The battle between the IBA, the International Boxing Association, and the IOC, who do not like one another. Remember, the IBA is suspended from the Olympics. The IOC run the boxing here as an independent committee. There's that political side of it. There's the influence of Russia with the IBA, Russia being banned by the Olympics as well. There are other geopolitical matters at hand as well, which have made the issue very, very difficult to understand. Now, the second boxer who's been caught up in this controversy was Taiwan's Lin Yuting. She fought this afternoon. She had an impressive display against her Uzbek opponent, beating her with a unanimous decision by the judges. Her Uzbek opponent, Satora Turdybakova, 5-0 on the judges' scorecard. That was there. And then just in the last couple of hours as well, a lot of controversy yesterday, obviously around that bout between Imam Khalif of Algeria and Italy's Angela Carini. The bout lasting 46 seconds. Carini leaving the ring without acknowledging Khalif once the bout was ended. Well, Carini has spoken to a very reputable newspaper in Italy, Gazzetta dello Sport, and what she has said, I'll paraphrase it, saying, all the controversy makes me sad. I'm sorry for my opponent too. If the IOC said she can fight, I respect that decision. She goes on to say, while regretting not shaking her hands at the end of the bout, she says, it wasn't something I wanted to do. Intended to do. Actually, I want to apologise to her and to everyone else. I was angry because my Olympics had gone up in smoke, and she said if she were to meet Khalif again, she would embrace her. So some context and maybe some different perspective from Angela Carini and the Italian boxing team than there was yesterday with this story involving the Algerian Imam Khalif and the Taiwanese boxer Lin Yuting.
Caitlin Wheeler is an ambassador at the aforementioned Riley Gaines Center and a former collegiate swimmer. She joins me now. Caitlin, will the Biden-Harris...
Bro, will the Biden-Harris administration, like, respond to this? Is so crazy. The hilarious thing is that if we were in the Greek times, they wouldn't stop the fighting. If anything, they would have more fights exactly like that. They'd also be fucking naked. My biggest problem with it is that it's rooted in women being inferior to men by default. Oh, yeah. No, that's a huge part of this as well. A huge part of this. As an avid boxing fan, I've been engaging in the community for a long time. It's a really conservative sport, very bigoted at times, and still have more understanding as the average normie that are now paying attention. It's insane. I don't get it at all. Iman has been a familiar name, kind of a subpar one, and most of the natural level of testosterone discourse has never been important. Normies right wing are so brain broken. Yes, because they don't care about the sport. They don't care about boxing, and they certainly do not care about women's sports at all. They just care about being transphobic. That is their goal. And they will use anything and everything. They will use anything and everything to push that agenda because they're fucking insane. And I'm sick and tired of acting like they're not. They're fucking weird. Okay? They're weird as fuck and they're insane. They are hallucinating shit. Okay? You're insane? Yes, dude. I'm insane because I think that it is ridiculous to act like a woman who's a fucking woman is not a woman all of a sudden because she doesn't appeal to your understanding of what a woman should look like. Sorry, I am not capitulating to your schizophrenic hallucinations, so I must be the crazy one. It's like wild. These are supposedly people who care about women's sports, by the way. I care about women's sports. That's why I'm telling a woman is not that. That's why I'm saying that one woman is actually not a woman with no fucking evidence whatsoever. Iman Khalif's next opponent posted this. The IOC Media Olympics Hungarian boxer Luka Hamori posted numerous hateful messages on her Instagram about her upcoming opponent, Iman Khalif. This is contrary to athletes' declaration of rights and responsibilities for athletes within the Olympic movement. I don't even know what this means, but this is the girl who is fighting the male boxer tomorrow. Oh, and then she reposted it. Nice. I hope she gets her fucking ass beat, by the way. Are they just in too deep to not admit they are wrong and that chick is a biological cis woman? Yes. Some people are just like so invested in this narrative. I mean, a lot of people are. They're just so invested in the narrative that they don't care. They just legitimately don't care. They don't care about what the truth is. They never did. Just like they never cared about the actual fucking, just like they never cared about like defending women's sports, right? Like that was never a real thing. That was just as real as like Gamergate motherfuckers being like, I care about ethics in video gaming journalism. I care about like ethics in video game journalism. It's just a way to masquerade your ridiculous worldview as a more appealing position. Because honestly, if you were running around being like, it was inevitable, by the way. It was inevitable. Okay? It was inevitable that, like, if there were no trans people competing, whether because they didn't qualify or for some other reason, they were going to eventually point the finger at cis women that they suspect are secretly trans. This is the unfortunate but very foreseeable byproduct of just having your brain be warped in this direction. Speaking of fucking transvestigations, which is the final stage, the terminal stage of like transphobia as a mental illness, okay? Kyle Rittenhouse is being transvestigated now. To which I say let them fight. But like, do you understand how brain broken these motherfuckers are? Anyway, we're going to get to that story in a second. I just want to hear more of this like fucking fake outrage off of like a completely hallucinated talking point.
Changes that Chanley mentioned to Title IX lead to a similar scene that played out there in Paris, playing out at gyms and on fields all throughout our nation.
Yeah, I mean, it's exactly what we're going to see. I wish I could say this was surprising what we saw here at the Olympic Games. Of course, it's awful. It's sick that we're glorifying male violence against women. But it's not surprising because it's the exact same.
Yeah, male violence against women should only be done inside of a no-fault divorce, okay? Or which I don't believe in. I believe that male violence against women can only happen. Male violence against women can only happen inside of shitty marriages where there's domestic abuse happening that that I think is good and fine, and people should stay in this relationship regardless.
Same things we've seen.
Yeah, male violence against women can only happen between a cop and a cop's wife. Male violence can only happen against women between Dana White and Dana White's wife.
Happening in our own country. The IOC is filled with the exact same weak-kneed, spineless people we have in the NCAA and YMCAs and Planet Fitnesses and these organizations who allow men into women's spaces. And to the viewers who may not have seen the video of Khalif punching Angela Carini in the face, when you watch it...
I can't believe it's been 48 hours of this fucking narrative, and these guys have not even like turned around and been like, yeah, my bad, we were wrong actually for saying that this person is a male. Like, they're just still going with it. Delulu. But in a very dangerous way, okay? Like, think about that. They're not even turning around and being like, oh yeah, maybe we fucked up on this one. Like, some on the right, including Logan Paul, turned around and was like, okay, my bad, this wasn't a man fighting against a woman. But could you imagine if it was? These guys aren't even fucking doing that. They're just doubling down. They're like, no, that's a man, dog. I don't care.
Take a long, good look. This is what the Biden-Harris administration sees as the future, and unfortunately, it's the reality we're living in our own country. So we must remember a vote.
Bro, the funniest thing about this is you never hear people chirping like this when they're good, okay? Ain't nobody who's actually good is chirping like this. Is always the worst, like, 8th pick Andys that are like, oh my God, I lost because of trans people. You lost to like 7 cis women. Fuck you mean? Bitch, swim better. Why are you chirping? Learn to swim better, dumbass. Fuck you mean? This is what I don't understand. What is this fucking loser shit? Oh my God, bro. Get good. Get good. Get good. Participation trophy ass fuckers, dude. Holy shit. It's crazy that we just like celebrate being a fucking annoying loser like this, and then they try to masquerade this as some kind of fucking virtue. Yeah, maybe all the people that were ahead of me that were cis women were also secretly trans women, actually.
For Kamala Harris is a vote for this exact thing. That's
This person is from the Riley Gaines Center ambassador. Like, I'm sorry. America used to be a nation that was proud of its accomplishments, okay? We used to be a country that dominated. What the fuck happened, dude? What is this right-wing loser shit constantly fucking chirping? Celebrating the Confederacy's L's, celebrating the L's of these fucking loser-ass athletes who couldn't cut it. What happened? These are the motherfuckers who used to say no participation trophies. So I guess yes, participation trophies, as long as you can just like cry about a secret trans person defeating you. Is that what it is? What is going on? God damn, dude. Get back to fucking work. I'll listen to you when I can see you beat the fucking record, all right? The testosterone level is not fair, dumbass. Brother, that's not a point of contention here. It's not happening. You're talking about a dumb fuck who is literally losing to cis women. It's never fucking winners, okay? Winners don't talk like this because they got the Mamba mentality. They don't fucking stop. They persevere. That's what good athletes do. This is loser talk. And you're also a fucking loser as well. You're a fucking loser because you're celebrating other fucking losers crying on Fox News, okay? Imagining an issue. That is not what's happening. Okay? Shut up, bitch. Shut your bitch ass up. Well, let's put a man hitting a woman. That's not what's happening here. You're just imagining that that's what's happening here. Shut the fuck up. It's all about the chromosomes, science and shit. You're too stupid to have a conversation with. Take a day off. Can't even fucking spell. It's so obvious that these are just simply talking points that you heard from some, but it doesn't matter. It's not science. You just heard it from a fucking YouTuber, idiot.
It's the vote for erasure of women and women's sports.
I think we all agree that we want people to be able to live in their own skin in a way free from discrimination. But that's...
No, you don't. No, you don't. Shut the fuck up. We really do. We do. But we care about women's sports. And that's why we're shitting on a cis woman right now, because she looks kind of brolic.
Not what this is
talking about right now. She got owned, man. That's it. What is this? In the video of this Italian player, Angela Crenny withdraws in front of the Turkish player Busenas Sürmeneli. It seems she can't face her, so she looks for excuses to cover up her failure and lack of effort in training. That's crazy. Flop machine, bro. Flop machine. Isn't transitioning illegal in Algeria? Yes. You go to jail for just being trans. That's the other part of this, which is crazy.
Break down in tears and say she had to quit the fight because she was scared she was going to die. Who watches all that and says, you know, I side?
It's combat sports. If you can't take the heat, get the fuck out of the kitchen. We're talking about combat sports, bro. What the fuck? You're a fucking loser, dog. Shut the fuck up. What is this conversation that we're having, bro? Oh, I'm sorry. She punches too hard? What the fuck do you mean? That's the point, dumbass. That's the fucking point. What is happening? Oh, man, Mike Tyson's opponents are too scared because he punches too hard. That's the whole point. That's the point. That's the point. This ain't a fucking tickle party, bitch. What the fuck do you mean?
with the other person. I don't get that, Caitlin.
Yeah, it's absolutely disgusting. I think anyone with a brain could see how unfair this is, how wrong this is. I mean, we've seen our administration now take Title IX, which was enacted 52 years ago, as you said. They have taken this piece of legislation and essentially dropped it in the paper shredder and created their own. This rewrite is actively in effect. And the Biden-Harris administration and the entire Democratic Party swears up and down that they are the party for women. Well, if they truly are the party for women, why are they not out there fighting for women who are going up against these men at the Olympics? Why are they the exact same ones to rewrite Title IX? They are the reason that many of my friends and thousands of women in our own country have been sidelined on podiums, exploited in locker rooms, and injured on the court.
This is not a thing that is happening, okay? You're just making all of this shit up. Oh. There is nothing funnier than having female athletes talk about transphobia, like repeat transphobic takes, because y'all also are brolic, bro. Like Riley Gaines, right? This is Caitlin Wheeler talking about this. She's an NCAA swimmer and a fucking loser, right? She's actually here as an ambassador from the Riley Gaines Center for stupid ass athletes who couldn't fucking cut it, okay? Let me show you what Riley Gaines looks like, okay? Brother, like, come on. Why are you desperately trying to fucking, like, why are you acting like, oh, well, some people just, like, look weird and maybe they're trans and whatever. Like, you also are pretty brolic. Look at your goddamn shoulders, Riley. Like, what are you doing? You are the living definition of a person that doesn't fit the stereotypical what women should look like. Why? Why are you, like, do you think when you just fucking advocate for this thing that people will just like automatically go, oh yeah, that's like, you know, they're just not going to be transphobic to you too? This makes no dang sense, dude. Like, it makes no sense. Like, I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. I genuinely don't understand it. It's like on the side of men, you got Ben Shapiro talking about fucking rigid gender binaries. And on the women's side, the TERFs are the clockiest of them all. Like, this is such a stupid fucking conversation to have because, like, she's 3 seconds removed from, like, the entire fandom that she's cultivated turning on her and being like, actually, I need to see your pussy too, Riley. Do you have one? Riley is a man's name. You got some man hands on you, Riley. You got clavicles that are broader than me, Riley. Like, what? What are you doing? Like, you are living, breathing, personified proof that, like, women can be brolic. Okay? You know what I mean? Like, that's why it's so crazy. It's like this is what athletes look like. That's it. This is what female athletes look like. They're at the peak of their fucking conditioning. Well, maybe not Riley because she's a fucking loser, but like, what are we doing? As an Algerian and a Muslim, we will never support any type of LGBT. Legally, our gender decided in the second of birth. No one can change, so we will live with same gender that a doctor give it to you. And if she was transgender, we won't ever let her represent our country because it goes against our religion. Yeah, okay, bro. This is not your opportunity to fucking chirp in and say some like fucking transphobic shit either, okay? That's also a problem. Like, like the point in contention here isn't the fact that like the Algerian boxer is a man. She's not, we know. Or that she's trans. She's not, we know. But we're not gonna fucking celebrate Algeria's restrictions on trans people. Algeria finding out it's woke.
Wow. I didn't know that. I just, you're telling me now for the first time.
Yeah, I don't think Islam has said anything about trans people. Yeah, it's ironic because like Iran is maybe a little too pro-trans, maybe beyond being pro-trans. Anyway, why are you giving this more attention? I don't know, because your fucking uncle cares about it. Your mom cares about it. Every dumbass that you know from your hometown is literally wrong on this issue. So I'm going to keep fucking hammering it into their goddamn heads and your head too. So you understand and are equipped with the right talking points to be like, hey, this is what the truth is. You're out of your fucking mind.
They're doing the exact opposite of fight for women.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And
I'm Brian Kilmeade. Italy and UK politicians react to Imam Khalif in the boxing controversy.
Diciamo caratteristiche genetiche maschili non debbano essere ammessi alle gare femminili e non perché si voglia discriminare qualcuno, ma per tutelare il diritto delle atlete di poter competere ad armi pari. Quindi non ero d'accordo con la scelta nel 2021, non sono d'accordo con la scelta oggi.
A noi dispiace molto dell'atleta italiana Carini, ma penso che sia si sia andati
in the attacks and even in the fake news that they've been produced about this Algerian athlete
che sono state prodotte sul conto di questa atleta algerina.
Hasan, are you dumb? Wait, what? What is this guy saying? Wait, fuck. Hasan, are you dumb? If Muslim countries won't ban transgenders, who would ban them? Are you even a Muslim to talk about something religion related? First of all, you know, I grew up in a Muslim country. And secondly, the fuck are you talking about? You don't even know your own goddamn religion if you're talking about this shit, okay? There's literally, like, Islam does not give a fuck. The anti-trans stuff is like new shit, okay? It's totally new shit. You can get Iran literally has gender confirmation surgery, sometimes by force if someone is caught being gay. The fuck? In Egypt, you can literally get gender transition surgery approved by Al Azhar. Abortion and trans rights in Muslim countries are absolutely wrong. Transgenders existed during Muhammad's life. They literally lived in his house. They had an important social role in early Islam in the Abbasid era. Yeah, it's just like people are so stupid about this. One, Islam is not a monolith. Two, if you are to look at like Muslim countries, obviously their opinion on trans people and abortion differ from one another, as they are not a monolith. But by and large, they're fairly more tolerant than even their Christian counterparts. And I'm not even saying that because, like, obviously, trans rights have gotten worse in countries like Turkey recently, but it's relatively new culture war phenomena. It's not actually like a historical thing under Islam. Oh. Islam absolutely prohibits transgenderism and referring to Iran basically excommunicated by 90% of Muslims doesn't make sense. HasanAbi. I just gave you examples that are not just Iran. You can't just like cast aside Iran and be like, they're fake Muslims. What the fuck do you mean excommunicated? Shut up, dude. Talking in here like a fucking Wahhabist fundamentalist. Christ cuck Muslims are the funniest. I hate how toxic becomes. Toxic chat becomes the second trans issues come up. They're not only toxic, but they're just like chirping completely from an uneducated point of view. Okay, that's the shit that pisses me off. On top of everything else, which is that like people aren't just chirping; they're also wrong. But you cannot even explain to them that they are wrong. They're just like, nah, I don't believe it. It is identical to the same situation that we're experiencing with respect to Imam Khalif, where they're like, nah, I don't care. She's a man. He's a man. You know what I mean? And it's just so fucking stupid. It's like, well, what do you mean? That's not the case. What do you want me to do? Do you want me to lie so you feel better? No, you are wrong. I know, I'm wrong. Of course. She's not trans. You guys are right. It's a fucking man. You aren't. You are wrong. You don't know, bruh. Not transphobic, but you're wrong about the Islam thing. Islam is not a monolith. But in the Islamic world broadly, while in recent years, Turkey, for example, has gotten more transphobic under the Erdogan regime, historically speaking, Islam does not give a shit about trans people. Islamic countries like the fucking caliphate in the Ottoman Empire did not give a single fuck about gay people. As a matter of fact, the caliphate decriminalized homosexuality in the 18th century. Okay? The Islamic caliphate. If we're not going to talk about Iran, and you're like, oh, Iran is some other shit, let's talk about the Islamic caliphate in the Ottoman Empire. Okay? Homophobia, transphobia, and these kinds of attitudes about gay people, trans people are relatively new phenomena and oftentimes simply born out of Western opinions cultivated in the church. Okay? You talking about people not Islam? Shut up. I just said the caliphate. Fuck you mean I'm talking about people not Islam. There is no better singular depiction. It's like fucking talking about the Pope in the Catholic Church. Jesus Christ.
È una questione di cui si dovrebbe occupare di più la scienza e i regolamenti olimpici e di meno la politica, soprattutto se la politica se ne occupa, come abbiamo visto in queste ore, in maniera assolutamente demagogica, populista.
If you think the difference between male and female and subsequent gender identity is as simple as having or not having an X chromosome, then please stick around and watch this video to try and learn a little bit about this crazy controversy that's going on in the Olympic world. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Dr. Brian Suter, and my goal in this channel is to help teach you about the medical side of this.
You're wrong about Islam. Also, what's a caliphate? Exactly. People that don't know anything, people that do not know anything about anything are just like chirping off of like things that they read on Reddit. Okay? Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know what a fucking caliphate is, but I read on, you know, on a Reddit comment that Islam is like across the board religiously very transphobic, very homophobic, yada yada yada. I don't care to investigate the history. I actually don't give a shit. And I am committed to my opinion, committed to my position here. Transsexuality among the Marsh Arabs. Muslims are generally very homophobic. No. I swear to God, Islamophobia is the last bigotry to leave a progressive person. Islamophobia and transphobia are like the two major bigotries that are so normalized in Western society that they just like, so many people never check their shit, never check their attitude, never actually listen to someone with a different perspective, different framework. It doesn't matter. And this is the final stage of that cope. There's a difference between what Islam actually says and the actions of Muslims. Brother, the actions of Muslims, we're talking about 1 billion fucking people that span across the entire goddamn planet with multiple different ethnic backgrounds and cultures. Fuck you mean the actions of Muslims? There are fucking porky little pigs everywhere around the planet. There's fundy Muslims just like there are fundy Christians. If you can make that distinction in your goddamn mind about Americans, you should be able to think about that with respect to the entire Islamic world, okay? I myself am from a Muslim family. I grew up in a Muslim country. I'm Muslim. My name is Hasan, okay? Now think about my worldview. You're literally talking to a person that doesn't fit the mold that you have cultivated in your fucking mind. So shut the fuck up. Jesus Christ. Anyway.
Sports world. I'm actually in Paris right now. I've been here for the Olympics the past week or so. You can see Paris outside my window there. It's been absolutely beautiful. But the biggest story the past couple days has been, of course, with women's boxing. The story, of course, is that this Algerian boxer, Iman Khalif, is identifying as a woman. She's in female women's boxing, but there's a lot of talk that people saying she's a male. She's had these previous disqualifications for having XY chromosomes and failed gender testing. And so why in the world are we letting a man compete in a woman's sport, especially boxing? This is not the first time we've seen a big story like this. You might remember this track and field athlete, Caster Semenya, who was a middle distance runner who was disqualified from running certain events because of this whole differences in sexual development diagnosis and picture. This is going to be as simple as possible of an embryology or the study of how we grow and develop, genetics and physiology lesson, so I can try to open people's mind to some of these challenging discussion points. Our genes are the blueprint for how our body functions and is built and is made. We get 1/2 of our genes from our mother and 1/2 from our father. That means most humans will have 2 genes for sex. That can be either an X chromosome or a Y chromosome. Now, typically a female sex will have an X and an X chromosome, and a male sex will have an X and a Y. The contents of those chromosomes are what determine how we are going to develop either into a female, talking about sex again, or a male, again, talking about sex. So, classic female sex, XX, classic male sex, XY. Now, interestingly, whenever we are first conceived in the womb, we all start off and we have the potential for our sexual organs, our gonads, to be either female or male. The presence of specific genes on the Y chromosome differentiate that down a pathway to become male. So, without that Y chromosome turning on the pathway to become male, everybody would go down the female path in terms of their sexual development. So if you have a normal functioning Y chromosome that turns on the pathway to send you down to have male sexual characteristics, male genitalia, etc. That's the basic black and white kind of bread and butter of how things normally go. But as you can imagine, there are a lot of possible errors in not only the genetic composition, but also what happens from the downstream physiology standpoint. On that Y chromosome is a specific gene that turns on a lot of the testosterone, the androgen signaling pathways that form the gonads, the external and internal sexual characteristics. So we're talking about the external signs like breast, gonads, etc., versus the internal genetics. With these differences or disorders of sexual differentiation, or DSD, the genetics are XY, so you have that Y chromosome that's trying to turn on the pathway to fully.
The problem with this content, while it's great and plenty of people need it, is way too much detailed explanation for a hog. They don't actually give a fuck about the science, just like how they look, like you've said over and over. I know. Yeah, if you don't want me to punish you with like boring fucking biology lessons that disprove everything you think about like trans existence, then you just have to say trans rights. That's it. Okay? That's it. Listen, we can do this, which is very fucking boring, or you can just say trans rights. Trans rights are human rights. Let trans people live. Who gives a fuck? Okay? The thing is, like, no hog is watching this, okay? The hogs are probably too busy transvestigating this man, okay? They're like, oh, I don't know about that. Looking kind of gay to me, brother. Half of these people yelling about trans people on Twitter have a PFP with their husband or wife, and they're always one half of a Godskin duo marriage. They need mirrors. Godskin duo marriage. Oh no. Okay. Let's skip the doctor explaining the controversy.
Vice President.
We're done with that part. Kamala Harris reacts to winning the Democratic presidential nomination, but how will you react to winning a gifted sub at the top of the hour? That is the question you should be asking yourselves, because at the top of the hour, there's a 3-minute ad break. If you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe. For $5 or free with Twitch Prime, you can subscribe to avoid the top of the hour ad break. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, boys, girls, and Emmys. It's coming for you right now. You can also get gifted a sub if you're lucky. It's a 3-minute ad break now. Yeah. VP Choice League.
sort of a culmination of what has just been
Actually, I think Harris is speaking. I'm so sorry, David.
Sure, no
Harris
problem.
is speaking now on the call. Let's listen.
For everything that you are doing, and to everyone on the call, thank you for your hard work and all you have been doing over these last many, many, many months. And I know that we are excited about the future, but we also know that we got a lot of work to get there, and we have a lot of work to do. It's good work. We like hard work. And I just want to thank everyone for joining this call. Listen, I think we all approach our campaign with the same spirit, including that this is truly a people-powered campaign. And I would not be on this call right now and with you all were it not for your support and your trust, for which I am deeply grateful. I am honored to be the presumptive Democratic nominee for President of the United States, and I will tell you the tireless work of our delegates, our state leaders and staff has been pivotal in making this moment possible. And your dedication cannot be overstated. Your dedication to our country. You know, I know we all feel this way so strongly. We love our country. We believe in the promise of America. And that's what this campaign is about. So, of course, I will officially accept your nomination next week once the virtual voting period is closed. But already I'm happy to know that we have enough delegates to secure the nomination. And later this month, we will gather in Chicago, united as one party, where we're going to have an opportunity to celebrate this historic moment together. And again, this campaign is about all of us coming together, people coming together from every walk of life, every lived experience, and being fueled by our love of country, knowing that we are prepared to fight for the best of who we are. We believe in the promise of America, a promise of freedom, opportunity, and justice, not just for some, but for all. And ultimately in this election, you all have heard me say many times, we each face the question, what kind of country do we want to live in? Do we want to live in a country of freedom, compassion, and rule of law, or a country of chaos, fear, and hate? And the beauty of our democracy is we each, every one of us, has the power to answer that question. And that is why I say and know the power is with the people. So here's the bottom line. I say to all the friends on the call.
Okay, boring. Okay.
Care, and I can't wait to see you in Chicago. And thank you again, Jamie.
I'm skipping this stuff because it's boring. It's just like
we've
classic,
been listening to
it's classic boilerplate shit.
Vice President Kamala Harris accepting the presumptive presidential nomination for the Democratic Party. Obviously a historic moment. She becomes the first black woman and the first Asian.
You were saying generic Democrats crush across the board and Kamala is giving off very generic Democrat? Yes. Yes. Generic Democrats that are running in Senate races are actually doing or were doing significantly better than Joe Biden. Okay? Americans don't have an issue with generic Democrats. However, if Kamala stays on one note and simply just cuts away as her popularity right now is slated to rise, okay? Because she's being matched against Joe Biden's inadequacies. Having said that, however, of course she's running a campaign. She's going to get chipped away at. She's going to get constantly bouldered with attacks. In that situation, you have to be able to communicate a vision, right? A progressive vision. What your policies are, what your ideology is, what you're going to actually end up doing if you are president. Okay? And as that's happening, they're lucky enough that the Republicans haven't been able to actually launch like a unified form of attack against her that has been good enough, right? Good enough to like actually harm her credentials. They just keep saying like she's not really black. She turned black. You know what I mean? Shit like that. And in a way it's or that she laughs. And in a way this has actually been pretty helpful for her. But I do worry that Democrats have a tendency to do two things. One, grow complacent, and two, get scared and immediately moved to the center to really just make up for any kind of like right-wing sentiment being placed in the minds of Americans about how radical of a leftist she is. And unfortunately, I fear that Kamala Harris is already like retriangulating, okay? And pushing to the center in a way that even Joe Biden didn't do. Like Joe Biden held a lot of conservative positions on abortion, for example. He was like more conservative than the American public is, right? And he was always very bad at talking about abortion. That's just demonstrably true. You can get mad at me and be like, that's not the case, like blah, blah, blah. Like, no, he was the worst person for the job to be the Democratic leader, to talk about abortion when he has a track record of being like kind of stubborn on abortion to begin with, restrictive on abortion to begin with early on. Obviously that changed, but even then you could see that he could not communicate this message that is a necessity for the Democrats, right? But beyond issues that he was like very conservative on, like Israel, for example, he stayed on message when it came down to spelling out a progressive economic agenda. He did not retriangulate ever. He stayed on message. He was the worst messenger, but the message was good, right? And I worry that Kamala Harris, given her background as a black Indian woman, right? And also her background as someone who was at least aesthetically very progressive in the decisions that she made in Congress when she was a senator under the Trump administration, but a senator nonetheless. She was pretty bold with her legislative decisions. That is now going to be used against her. If Republicans actually, wasn't she more left than Bernie? She was never more left than Bernie. That calculation made is on like a litany of different legislative agendas. It's like when Jamal Bowman doesn't vote for like the Build Back Better proposal because it's like being separated. They mark that as like you voting against legislation that is ultimately a progressive piece of legislation. So that math equation that they do doesn't actually show whether someone is like truly more progressive or not. But regardless, she does have a track record, and she is on the record, on top of her track record, being pro-Medicare for all, for example, right? Like her platform in 2019 was pretty progressive. Did she truly believe it? I do not know. But I do know that she was at least thinking about running as a progressive campaign, like running as a progressive campaigner, a progressive legislator, right? She at least saw that there was, that was good for her election chances. Now, of course, she got owned because there was a real progressive on there, Bernie Sanders. But my fear is that she will do the classic Dem thing and just try to openly show America that she's actually a centrist when Republicans start campaigning against her background and be like, oh, look, she's a radical leftist, like so much more radical than Joe Biden. And she's already kind of doing that. And I think that's a very stupid thing to do. I also think it's a very stupid thing to pick Josh Shapiro as your VP pick, which seems like she might be doing that too.
Asian American to lead a major party ballot. She said on the call that she was excited about the future, but she emphasized this multiple times. There's a lot of work to do. It's not going to be easy. She said she was looking forward to the convention to celebrate.
Like Nathan J. Robinson, this is extraordinary. Harris is just dishing every good progressive thing she supported one by one and claiming she changed her mind. This makes her look like she's a flip-flopper. This was very effective when they were shitting on John Kerry. Okay, when the Republicans were shitting on John Kerry. She's offering a really solid counter narrative to be built against her. And it also is being done in a way where it cuts against the progressive momentum that she could lean into. Okay? She's doing a Keir Starmer, bruh. I mean, yes, but also, this is a different election because the Democrats are currently in charge. Okay? It's not like this is an election coming after 14 years of Tory austerity and a massive economic downturn that people have had enough of, where like Keir Starmer could literally say whatever the fuck he wants and he was still going to win, which he kind of did. I feel you have to realize she can't separate from Biden too much. Well, that's really interesting that you're saying that because she absolutely can on shit like this. Okay? She can. She can be like, we want to carry Biden's agenda across the finish line and go even beyond. We want to help American people. And that's why I'm still in favor of a single payer health care. This is also an objectively popular policy position. Kamala Harris no longer supports a federal job guarantee, an idea championed by some on the left and Green New Deal proponents that gained traction among Democrats in the 2020 election cycle. She no longer supports a ban on fracking. I think this is loser behavior. Okay? Majority of Americans support progressive policies such as higher minimum wage, free college. That's from all the way back in 2019. Americans love economically progressive policies, okay? Consistently. They love that shit in every state, including red states, including insane states like Florida. Progressive policy not attached to a Democratic candidate consistently outperforms both Democratic candidates and Republican candidates. Do you understand? Like, it is gangbusters shit. They love it. They love voting for ballot measures. Americans love, and I mean love, voting for ballot measures that are like fucking abolish landlords, winning by like 70%. It's not even a thing. Like, it's just, it is a very consistent and unfortunately very funny thing that happens in American politics. Do you not love ballot measures? I do. In my opinion, it is truly a loser instinct to try and turn around and advocate for centrist positions on things when you have this like broad, sweeping, progressive momentum behind you. Okay? Why complain then? What do you mean? Complain about what? The ad break at the top of the hour? Bro, it's 2:20. Okay, you got to take a day off for that, chatter. It's 2:20 and I ran the ad break already. Data nerd side of it, some of the things she backed off of are wildly unpopular just from data analytics. Forcing a gun buyback polls at like 11%. Medicare for all at 40%. It's been demonized by the right for years. Green New Deal she supports polls at 64%, but forced job guarantee only at 33%. She supports progressive college education and rich taxing stances, which are popular. Just data for you. No, I know. The problem is, if you just simply look at the data without adequate counter messaging, then it just doesn't mean anything. It's the same principle behind immigration. This is all untested. at times when it's a point of contention and it's a point of conversation, when Democrats are actually, whether because it'll never get passed because it's the Trump administration or because Bernie Sanders is advocating for it and he's a supremely popular fucking candidate, will push for these policies. And in that circumstance, it is very popular. Do you see what I'm saying? And what I'm talking about is usually what people vote for in terms of ballot measures. Regardless of the polling data. These issues are broadly popular when people vote for them. Like when they have an opportunity to vote for them. Anyway. But how do you know that? Because people do vote for very progressive ballot measures in states like Florida, whether it be like increasing the minimum wage or felon voter restoration, shit like that. For me, the thing that is frustrating is that this kind of stuff basically gives an opportunity to the Republicans to just like shit on her and say that she is a flip-flopper and also secretly still invested in these things. Now you've just capitulated to right-wing framing on it, and you have recognized that those things are unpopular when you should talk about, because they're going to say you are that anyway, right? It's basically like this. It's the story I tell all the time. It's one that I've talked about extensively on the issue of immigration. It's one that I've talked extensively about policing in this country, right? There was a messaging bill a couple years ago about how America is a capitalist nation and socialism fucking sucks dick or whatever, and it's the most murderous ideology of all time. And Democrats voted on that messaging bill. They voted that, yes, socialism is the worst thing of all time, and that, communism and socialism would kill more than even Nazis, whatever the fuck, right? It was a very dumb bill. It happens all the time. The problem is, when Democrats vote for that, they think people are going to point to that and go, see, they voted against the idea that they're socialists. Like, how could you say they're socialists? That doesn't matter. Republicans still say socialism wrong, socialism murderous, and Nancy Pelosi is a socialist anyway. So you voting on that messaging bill doesn't change that. Does that make sense? All you've done in that point is give the Republicans an opportunity to say, see, even the Democrats know that socialism is bad, and they're socialists themselves. That's how this works. Abi Orta Doğu'da kıyamet koptu amına koyayım, boş ver Amerika'yı, Trump'ı, Biden'ı. Ne oluyor? Ne koptu kıyamet? 3 gündür bekliyoruz kıyamet kopacak diye. Daha kopmadı hala. Scoop, editor of the Philly magazine, says, Scoop, Philly political sources have told me that a staffer connected to Mayor Sherrell Parker's team accidentally posted the video today. The video was scheduled for Monday after VP Kamala Harris was expected to announce her pick. Is Josh Shapiro, y'all. I'm hearing there's a firestorm right now. I guess that's an understatement. I don't know. I think it's fake. I still don't think like a fucking staffer. I don't think a staffer. City Hall reporter of Philly Inquirer says, no, it's not an announcement. Proud to be back with so many leaders from across the region supporting Kamala Harris and Josh Shapiro for VP. This is Sherrell Parker, the mayor of Philadelphia, that posted this video. But I just don't think. I don't think that this is real. Like, this is much hay has been made about this. Anyway, I don't think that a fucking Philly mayor staffer knew who the VP pick was before anybody else. That would imply that so many people know about it. It would have leaked way before. Anyway, let's continue with this, and I'm going to get to the Veep stakes in a second.
As one party.
I got to pee.
David, we'll go back to you. Part of the reason that they're doing this digitally is because there was a moment where Democrats feared they may have a bit of a snafu at the convention.
Yeah, specifically in Ohio, the Republican legislators there were saying they weren't going to sort of give a waiver, given that the convention is slated to happen after their deadline. But Governor DeWine changed that, signed a law, and it's not really a threat. Nonetheless, they stuck with their plan. We saw this, by the way, in the pandemic 4 years ago. They also did a virtual vote like this. We should note, she didn't say she was accepting it on this call. What was announced here by DNC Chairman Jamie Harrison is that she has secured enough delegates to be the Democratic nominee. She hit over that 50% plus one threshold, but the voting is still open. And so delegates are still getting in their ballots. And so she clearly wanted to not shut that off and allow more time, and said that when the voting period comes to a close, then she would formally accept the nomination. Of course, we'll see her publicly in a grand fashion accept the nomination when she delivers that speech in Chicago.
And no one is running against her.
Correct.
I mean, I'm taking a look at the delegate ballot, the official ballot. It's Kamala D. Harris or present. So there you go. That's what it was. And listen, despite her referring to herself as the presumptive nominee and emphasizing that it's going to be at the convention, the Democratic Party and Kamala Harris, they just got married. Maybe the wedding is in 2 weeks and change, but like, it's done, it is signed, it's official. They have made her the nominee with this. She's over the threshold. It's official. I wonder, in your reporting, as you're talking to voters, if there's any sensitivity, as we did think at one time there might be, to this idea of a coronation in what has also given the Democrats.
I think you guys should make more fun of all the liberals that ran with this idea that like the decrepit old man had to be the fucking candidate, and how wrong they were. Because so many liberal commentators, so many liberal political commentators just like ran with this idea. And in the back of my mind, I was always thinking about how fucking, I was always thinking about how fucking stupid it is, and how we're going to look back at this, and laugh. How we're going to look back at this and laugh about like how we tried to carry this old man across the finish line.
And we are less than 2 weeks since 2 weeks ago today. We're heading into the weekend. Joe Biden was still running, and we weren't sure if he was getting out. Now look at this.
Yeah, like the other thing going on here, which is I think important to the Democratic psychology, is it was almost a month of Democrats feeling more and more depressed about their standing with Joe Biden. And really, I had to go back to a number of sources who all gave me the same quote about being despondent